I want to do a video today on inner child work and how we can better help our inner child at the moment, because I think in times of stress, in times of chaos, in times of confusion, in times of anxiety, fear, or whatever, when we've got heightened emotions, it's often our inner child that that acts out the most strongly. So what we're feeling, what we're thinking, what we're saying, and what we're doing isn't necessarily coming from our adult self, it's coming from our inner child, our child self, the traumatized parts of ourselves from the past that are still stuck in those situations, just echoing them out, repeating them on an endless cycle. And it's like the inner work that we all need to do in order to be more whole and more healed and more grounded is to go back and release those little echoes, those little imprints of ourselves, so that they can be free. They're like little ghosts trapped in our past. And I think at the moment especially, lots of people are being triggered by their inner child and their inner children and their past trauma, because when we are stuck at home, when our lives are changed, and when this change has been enforced upon us, when there is uncertainty like loss of income, loss of job, reduced connection to others, lack of community, all of these things really they really put pressure on us as adults, as individuals, and then it's like those wounds, those core wounds that are inside of us, there are the things that then start to hurt and start to speak, because we have lost all of our distractions, all of our entertainment. It's like when we're not able to go out to the high street and go shopping, or go get like a takeaway or something sweet to satisfy that inner hurt, that inner feeling of unease and unrest, then it's like we're stuck at home at the moment. We have to self-soothe and self-pacify, and that's very difficult for a lot of us, especially if we're not used to that. If we're used to being addicts of some form or another, and then we haven't got that fuel for our addiction there, even if it's just like, I don't know, you like to go to the cinema every day, or you like to walk around an art gallery every day, or not being able to do those things, if that is your thing, can wake something up inside of you that you don't understand and you don't know how to speak to. So I wanted to do a reading today about our inner child, and using the question, what does my inner child need from me right now, and how can I be of better service? Because I think that we are all being called upon to be better parents to our inner children at the moment, and I believe that is part of our work here now, at the moment, at this present moment in time. There are many things that we're being called to do, but one of them, and I think the most fundamental one, is that we each take time to step back and be still and silent and listen to what's coming up and do our inner work. Because if we can all step out of this as better people, as people who are more whole, more healed, more rounded, more grown, more mature, then we can then go out there and be of better service to the planet and to each other, to support each other, to help all of us put everything back together again, because I think we're all going to need to come together in order to do that a lot more. And I think that the common person like you and me, the people that don't have all the power or all the money, I think it's going to be up to us to make sure that change is implemented, and we need to be strong in order to do that, so that we don't get broken down by all of the fear that is like spinning out everywhere at the moment, with all of this like misinformation and contradictory kind of like reports, so that nobody knows what to believe or think, and really nobody does. I mean, it doesn't matter who you listen to, what you read, nobody knows what the truth is yet. And it's like, well, if the intellectuals out there can't figure it out, if the scientists can't figure it out, if the politicians don't know what's going on, then how can we? And so I think understanding that and being able to somehow accept that and let go, surrender the need for control, for knowledge, can also be really helpful. But back to the inner child. I'm going to shuffle the cards, and we're going to tune in and see what our inner child needs from us in this moment right now, so that we can be of better service. Okay, so the first card that we have is the Eight of Swords. And this card, this card is telling us that this is what we are doing to our inner child right now. This is what our inner child wants us to know. He or she wants us to know that that is what they feel like at this moment in time right now. They feel like they have been evicted from their house, from their cozy home, from their nest, from their security, the place where they were happy living, the castle high up on the hill. They feel like they've been evicted from this castle. They've been kicked out of it, and tossed into the wilderness below. But then not only have they been tossed into the wilderness below, which would be bad enough, they've been blindfolded and tied up, and then they've been imprisoned in a circle of swords. So they are surrounded by sharpness, by coldness, by hardness, and then they're left exposed to the elements on this flat plain for the beasts to come and taunt them and haunt them and try and get in and pull them apart and rip them to pieces, and the birds to circle overhead waiting for them to die. So that sounds quite serious and harsh and bleak, yeah, but this is what our inner child wants us to know. They basically feel like they have been utterly abandoned by us at this moment in time. Like they feel like they're being punished for having feelings, having emotions, throwing a tantrum, speaking up, being loud, being noisy, being messy. They feel like you've shut them down, and you've kicked them out, and you've silenced them, and you've told them that they are not welcome here. They are not welcome because they are creating a mess, and you want your castle to be all rose-coloured and pretty and perfect and safe and secure, and there is no room in that castle, in that space, for chaos, for mess, for conflict. And so you kicked them out because they're not welcome anymore. But the problem is that your inner child is you. Yeah, your inner child is every single moment of you before right now. Yeah, so then the you of 5 minutes ago has also been condemned and kicked out, and is now trapped in that sword circle. So it's like more of you is in that circle than is here right now watching this video. More of you is in that circle than will exist between now and in 5 days' time. and so it's really important to reach in and find a way to rescue yourself from that circle, to invite yourself back into the castle, to give yourself a soft bed to lie down in, to give yourself warm arms to be wrapped up in, to give yourself warm food to eat, to consume, to restore and nourish you from. Your past self, your inner child, does not deserve to be kicked out of the castle like this and left down below, all alone, exposed to the elements. And she's only scared and she's only screaming and crying, or he is only scared and screaming and crying. But in this picture we have a she, she's only terrified, she's only petrified, she's only stuck in that circle because she doesn't understand where she is. She doesn't understand what's going on. She doesn't realize that actually she could free herself if she wanted to. She could walk up to those swords, she could rub her body up gently up against them, and she could free herself from the rope, and then she could remove the bandage from her eyes, or the tie from her eyes, and then she could realize that actually she can walk out of this circle of swords. She's not trapped in it. There is space. There is room to exit, to leave. She could just walk free of this imprisonment, but she doesn't know how to. She cannot see her way. She cannot find her way, and she feels like she is stuck and tied up and trapped. But you have the power to go down there and to reach in and to rescue her, to draw her out. You have the power to free her. You have the power to pull the swords up and cast them aside on the floor. You have the power to untie her and to take the blindfold off. You have the power to lead her back up to the castle and to save her from the beasts and to save her from the carrion birds circling overhead. And this is what she wants you to know. Otherwise, like this circle, this cycle that is going on, it's like the 8 is like an infinity sign. And 8 can either be really positive or it can be really negative. And right now, and perhaps frequently in your past too, the 8 has been really negative. The 8 has been more of this, more of like every single time your inner child tries to speak to you, to communicate something, you go, shut up. I don't want to hear you. It's too painful, it's too messy, it's too uncomfortable. You are unsettling my life. You are ruining my peace, my calm. You are scribbling all over my mood board for the future. I'm not interested. And you've cast her aside. And now you have like hundreds, thousands of these little inner children, these inner echoes, stuck and trapped and needing rescue, and they're all screaming and crying at once because they're all terrified, and they don't know what to do, and they need your help. They need your help in order to be fully integrated into you, so that together you can be stronger, and together you will be able to deal with whatever comes your way, and to cope with it lovingly, as parent and child in one body. So that's that card. And then 2 more cards came up as a way of moving forwards. And I think they actually go quite well together, because if we look at them next to each other, they almost look the same. Like they're so similar in imagery. And they're both kind of like set in landscape, in nature, in greenery. One is the King of Pentacles and the other is the 9 of Pentacles. The 9 of Pentacles was the card that came out first, and then the King came out just afterwards. And the 9 of Pentacles echoes that pink castle from the 8 of Swords. in the distance. And this card is like saying, you know, you can help me by, like, if we look at these cards and go, okay, well, they're like reflections of each other. So these two cards are almost like two possible realities. Yeah. So this is one, and this is the glass that's half empty, and this is the other one, and this is the glass that's half full. So this is kind of what we're doing right now, and this is how we're seeing things right now. That we could just as easily be doing this and seeing this, and this is what our inner child wants us to think about and wants us to work towards, because this is what she needs from us, or he needs from us, if we're going to be more comfortable living with each other and we're going to have a more positive experience. So in this card we have a woman. Again, could be the same woman, and she is standing in the gardens at the foot of the hill upon which this castle is, and she looks pretty happy, and she's got instead of the bird flying overhead trying to, waiting for her to die so it can swoop in and pick her bones, this bird is tamed on her arm. So this bird is a bird of prey, but it's tamed on her arm. It's wearing a hood. It works for her, not against her. It's her friend, not her enemy. She also has a little rabbit by her feet, which again says, in this one she has tamed the beasts. They are not out there in the dark waiting to come and get her. Here we have 8 of swords. Here we have 9 of pentacles. We still have 9 staffs here. And each one of these is a vine, a grapevine. And grapes are kind of deeply symbolic, because grapes are what we make wine out of, and then wine is what we use as an offering at the altar. And it's like symbolically the blood of Christ. Wine is also drunk at celebrations. Wine has been around since biblical times, or maybe even before. But it's out of all the alcohol that there is, wine is like the alcohol that is considered to be more holy, more blessed. Yeah, we don't just drink it to get drunk. We drink wine because it's special, because it denotes celebration. It's like it's almost like spiritual wealth and emotional wealth as well. So the 9 pentacles in this kind of say that we could be, if we choose to perceive things like this, if we choose to treat our inner child as a friend instead of a foe, then we could be quite comfortably out there walking with her in our inner landscape. We could be surveying our grounds. We could be enjoying the animals together. We could be tending to our plants, watching over our grapes, and we know our grapes are going to grow us great wealth. These pentacles are attached to these vines, so it's basically saying, okay, here you are poor and you are homeless and you have been cast out and you have been abandoned. You have nothing and no one, and you are utterly, utterly alone. In this one, you have your house, you have your castle, you have your land, you have these vines, yeah? So it's like in this one, you are empowered, you are dressed in beautiful, colourful clothes. The animals are your friends, you have tamed them, or they have chosen to befriend you. And you have planted the seeds that are now growing you wealth, comfort, stability, with wealth. With finances, that you have security, you have a way of looking after yourself, a way of building things for yourself in the present and in the future, a way of sharing those things with others. It's like you can be more comfortable, you can relax, you can open your arms and extend them more widely. Instead of just looking after yourself, you can also look to the world. And so that's kind of like the message here is basically it's like you are either her or you are either her. And it depends on how you choose to look in the mirror, because you are both of these women, or these, if you're a man, just pretend they're men, but you are both of these people at the same time. You are both her and her. And you can choose who you want to step into, who you want to see. So at the moment you are seeing your inner child like this, and because of that you're seeing yourself like this, because your inner child, makes up most of you, because your inner child is you from the beginning of this video back to when you were born and when you were conceived even. But you can be her instead. If you just choose to adjust the way that you are looking at things, if you just choose to put on a different pair of glasses in which to view the world. And then the further message with the King of Pentacles, it's kind of saying that the final step, if you manage to do that switch, that shift, is you then, instead of living at the castle, you then own the castle. The castle is yours. It is part of your kingdom. You have a kingdom and you have a throne. You have earned the right to sit in your throne, and you possess not only wealth, so not only financial security, it's not necessarily great wealth, but it's like wealth, wealth in the way that will work for you at that time. So maybe that wealth is wealth of friendship. Maybe that wealth is wealth of emotional harmony. Maybe that wealth is wealth of satisfaction in career. Maybe that wealth is wealth of family and harmony within family. Maybe that wealth is wealth of health. So you possess wealth, and you're also like, he's holding is it the crucible, the circle with the cross? It's like a religious kind of relic that is used in church, and in the Catholic Church, I think, mainly, and it's deeply symbolic. And so it's kind of saying that, that there's an even balance here between the two wealth, the spiritual wealth and the earthy, grounded wealth. So one is an earth wealth, and the other one is a spiritual wealth, and they're equally balanced here in this future picture. And we have the two different coloured grapes. We have red ones and we have purple ones. And this king it's almost like the roots of the vines are growing into the throne, and into his feet. He is really, really connected to the earth and to nature and to the old ways, and it's a very much back to nature card, this card. So there is like spirituality, but it's saying there is spirituality to be found, there is solace to be found, there is enlightenment to be found in nature, in getting down and dirty in nature and growing stuff, growing your own kingdom, your own home, creating your own environment. And maybe, there are no other people in this card. This card is a solitary card of just one person, and this deck is a solitary deck, but there are cards in this deck that do have other people in them. But this king is like, it's almost like his castle looks quite quiet and sleepy. So it's not a castle that's full of the hustle and bustle and other people. It's not a busy, noisy castle. It's a quiet castle, and maybe it's just your own personal castle inside. But like, what's being promised is mastery over that castle. So in the first card, you have been kicked out of the castle. You are in exile. You are alone. You have been abandoned. Nobody wants you. In the second card, you are welcome at the castle. You visit the castle. Perhaps you live at the castle, but it is not necessarily your castle. But you have a place there. You have a home there. So this is good. This is positive. But the ultimate is actually to remove the rose-colored veil and to look upon everything as it is in reality, and to realize that if you do the work, if you can make space for your inner child and all of the uncomfortable things that she needs to say and will bring up, then this is where you will be. You will be like the King of Pentacles is like the king of financial freedom, the king of financial success. It's like the ultimate in terms of the money cards. So like ultimately everything that you desire, if we're putting an umbrella over it and calling wealth the things that would make us feel rich on a spiritual level, more than a material level, like this card is promising us that. It's saying we can have all of that, but we have to do the work, and the work is first to start here and to stop doing this to her, to ourselves. Yeah, and I'm sure you can all relate to that, to this card, to the image in this card. And maybe it's triggering for some of you to look at this card and to see yourself in this picture, but to realize that you're not just the victim standing here terrified and trapped. Actually, you are the perpetrator too. You are the person who kicked her out of the castle and put her in this circle and tied her up and blindfolded her. And to realize that and to hold that and to own that and take responsibility for it is uncomfortable. It's difficult because we don't want to think that we would treat ourselves like that. We'd like to think that we're kinder to ourselves and that we're more loving. But here we're not being like that at all. That we can be, and if we do, then she's going to be really happy like this. She's going to feel loved. She's going to feel supported. She's going to feel like she has everything she needs. She's going to be really confident and comfortable. You know, she trusts. In this card, she trusts. She trusts that she has enough. You know, she has enough of everything that she needs. She has enough money to take care of herself. She has enough companionship to feel safe, and the things that were frightening her in the previous card are now her friends. So she has made friends with her enemies, with the things that she was scared of, and realized that they're not enemies. And she has been welcomed back into the home, so now she feels like she belongs somewhere. And from there, she can work with you to help you to create this. And this is what you've been working for all along. So it's quite a big ask. It's not a little ask, it's quite a big ask. But I think the first step is just to open your eyes and see like where your inner child is right now, how she feels, where she is, and just to hold that, hold it and give it space, and sit with it for a while. And there's no rush. Just even just acknowledging that is a starting point, and from there things can change and shift and grow. And even if you do nothing else, you would have planted a little seed of awareness inside, which will create change. And it might be more subtle change than someone that just dives straight in head first and kind of like has a big look and starts like moving things about. But all change is good change, and all change leads somewhere different. And that's ultimately what we're trying to do, is move from where we are to somewhere different. And each time we move somewhere different, we evolve and we learn and we grow. And that's how we get to where we want to go eventually. So I hope that's given you a lot to think about. It's certainly given me a lot to think about in terms of the reading and the cards. And that interpretation of those cards, and if you would like to know more, please do visit my website lemonrosepetals.com, where you can subscribe to my blog to receive write-ups to the videos. Like I will probably do a write-up of this video afterwards. So you can sign up to receive those, and you can also find out more about me, and you can opt into my newsletter, and you can contact me if you would like to work with me privately. Otherwise, I'm on Instagram at Lemon Rose Petals as well. So I hope to see you again soon. If you like this video, please like it, and if you would like to be part of this journey, then do subscribe to my channel, and I will see you again soon. Bye.